Today I'm joined by CharlieTHFC, Anthony from Let's Talk Tottenham and David Harris to discuss Tottenham's defeat to Royal Antwerp in the Europa League last night. Also taking a look at whether or not Dele Alli has a future at Tottenham. We're also going to talk about the victory against Burnley on Monday night and also the game coming up on Sunday against Brighton and Hove Albion. I'm Matt Hayes and you're watching the Tottenham Fan Voice podcast. Hello and welcome back to Matt Hayes Tottenham blog and to episode 4 of the Tottenham Fan Voice podcast. Today I'm joined by CharlieTHFC, Anthony from Let's Talk Tottenham and David Harris to discuss Tottenham's defeat against Royal Antwerp last night. Also touch a bit on our victory against Burnley on Monday and preview Sunday's game against Brighton and Hove Albion. Anthony, first of all, it's your debut on the Tottenham Fan Voice podcast. How are you getting on?
Yeah, thanks for having me. After yesterday, it's a little bit rough, but happy to be here and join you guys.
Brilliant. It's great to have you on, Anthony, seriously. And Charlie as well, back for your second podcast. How are you?
Yeah, good. I'm good. Thank you, Matt. Bit tough after yesterday. Quite frustrated I was last night. But yeah, I'm good. Pleasure to have me on as well. So yeah, thank you very much for that, Matt. I really enjoy these.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to have you on as well, David Harris. Back in here as well. How are you, David?
All good, Matt. Yeah, look, bit disheartened after yesterday, but it is what it is. It's a knocking game on the outlook of the season, really. But yeah, look, happy to be back again. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, brilliant to have you as always. I suppose we'll dive straight into things. As I'm sure everybody knows by now, Tottenham lost 1-0 to Royal Antwerp in the Europa League last night in what was an abysmal performance, and one that Jose Mourinho has come out and criticised quite heavily, deservedly so. And David, I suppose the simple question is, what were your thoughts on the game?
Look, I thought we were very poor. There was a number of players out there, like Mourinho said, that he was given a chance last night. The likes of Winks and Dele Alli. Look, I know Dele Alli gets a lot of criticism from Spurs fans. Maybe some of it is a bit unjust, but this is a guy that his levels have just dropped over the. He's declined over the last few seasons. I don't know what's going on in his head, but he needs to get it sorted out and realise that Mourinho is only here for the good of his career, the good of the team. Harry Winks. Look, anytime we play this guy, we just get overrun in midfield. We can never seem to stop teams countering on us when this guy plays. We just can't keep possession of the ball either when this guy plays. And for me, his days are numbered at Tottenham as well. Look, with Ben Davies as well, he's the type of player, he's going to give you 6 and 7 throughout the season, maybe the odd 8 or 9. He's not going to be anything fantastic. He's a good squad player. And Sanchez as well, for me now, was a big one. Like that goal yesterday, he should have backed the keeper and showed him to have the shot rather than show him exactly what way to go. Look, Mourinho, this was a trust exercise for Mourinho, and I wouldn't be surprised to see some of them players out there last night kind of be phased out now over this course of the season, especially when it comes into the business end of the season, because the trust just isn't there with Mourinho and these players. Yeah,
for sure. And Mourinho came out and said it after the game in his press conference as well. He touched on the questions around certain players that have been out of the squad, and he said, look, you'll know in future why they're not there, because you saw the game tonight. He said his selections in the future will be a bit easier. Charlie, David has touched a few of them there on the poor performance of last night. There's Dele Alli, there's Harry Winks, there's Ben Davies, and even Gareth Bale, who hasn't made the start that we were hoping and in some way expecting from him. Who were the worst performers on the pitch last night for you?
For me, there was at least a couple of names that stood out for me. I think you've got to take long, hard looks at Harry Winks, Dele Alli, Ben Davies. Of course, the Ben Davies mistake, look, people saying it was a foul, but he still shouldn't be taking that long. He sort of received the ball and he just looked around for like 3 seconds, just not knowing what to do. And even he shouldn't be being dispossessed there. And with the likes of Winks, the guy, I just don't see what he offers anymore. In previous seasons, I've backed him, but it's just got to a point now where I can't do it anymore. And I just don't see what he offers anymore. No goal in a year and 9 months, no assist in 2 years, always sideways passes, and just can't tackle. He just can't do anything for me at the moment. And you saw yesterday that without Højbjerg in the midfield, with Winks instead in that position, we just get completely overrun. As David said, he summed it up perfectly. Just get completely overrun and dominated. And we can't dominate a game ourselves like that. And it's something that he really needs to have a long, hard look at himself, because the players that played yesterday are fighting for first-team places. Someone said it in my stream earlier that a number of players are fighting for their futures at the club, let alone places in the team. And I think players, you got the likes of Winks, Ali, Davis, all need to look at themselves after yesterday. And with Dele Alli, I mean, what can I say? He got a chance again yesterday. I know he hasn't been in the squad for weeks, but he got a chance against the team we played from Macedonia in the qualifiers. Didn't take that one. He gets another chance today. He doesn't take it. I just wonder what anyone can do to actually motivate him to play football, and it's really concerning the fact that he broke all these records with Lampard's records and everything he did before. But it's really concerning that he hasn't won anything in his career. You don't forget what more motivation do you need? It's not like he's coming towards the end of his career or anything. It is quite worrying with him, Dele Alli.
Yeah, he's one who I suppose understandably has been getting a lot of criticism, but I think it was interesting last night. I don't think he did. I think he's still playing for the badge in some way. And unfortunately, the performances don't seem to be there. We'll get onto that a bit more in a second. But Anthony, Jose made some pretty scathing comments after the game, saying, as I mentioned, saying, why certain players won't be starting. His choices in the future will be easier. And also that Instagram post where he said, bad performances deserve bad results. And some people have kind of dubbed that as a bit childish. But do you think those comments were warranted?
Yes and no. I think he picks the team, right? So in some ways it's like I said before we even got started that I felt like, I was hoping we'd see like a 2-0 win, but then I saw the team and it's like, well, not with that team. So you just wonder, I know he's trying to give people opportunities and stuff like that, but I just felt like losing like that kind of kills some momentum that we were building. And I felt like the camaraderie of the team. So yeah, I just think that it is warranted for some of the players for sure. Just kind of the kick in the pants that everybody kind of knows needs to happen. I don't know if it's childish. I just think it's Mourinho. Like, the guy is just such a showman that, even just some of the other Instagram posts that he's had with the 3 balls and this stuff like that. And I just think that that's who he is. And I think the players know that. And so they expect, he's going to say what he thinks. And they just, they got to figure out how to get into that team.
Yeah, for definite. And look, I suppose now is the best time to discuss what is going on with Dele Alli. Looking at his stats last night, his passing accuracy completed 23 out of 31 passes, which is a 74% success rate. He had no shots on target. He had no attempted dribbles. He had 1 key pass, which was, to be fair, a very decent ball in for Carlos Vinicius, whose pace let him down on that occasion. But for Ali, 0 out of 2 duels won and 11 possessions lost. David, as I said, he still seems to be playing for the badge, and I know some people agree with me in that and some people don't, but I think last night he was picking up some good positions early on in the game. He was, he's fighting for the ball. He was actually trying to get involved in the game. But is he good enough?
Personally, look, this is a guy that scored 2 goals against Chelsea. Do you know what I mean? This guy has the talent. He has raw ability, and he is good enough. My personal opinion on it is the 2 management styles. I look at the 2 management styles and the 2 managers he played under. Pochettino was always backed. He always backed him in the press. Never anything bad to say. You never heard anything about him coming out being a lazy trainer. And then you look at Mourinho. He'll tell you how it is. This guy wants you to sacrifice for the team. If you don't train hard, you don't play. It's as simple as that. And Ali just needs to realise that's the nature of football. It's the business of football. Do you know what I mean? Managers come and go. And at the end of the day, if he really wants to play for the badge, he's going to knuckle down and he's going to do the work he has to do. And to me, it just comes down to, I just don't think he's buying into Mourinho's system or Mourinho's way. As well, it doesn't suit him because Ali's a player. He likes a lot of flicks and tricks. Don't get me wrong, his temperament is 100% Mourinho's sort of temperament. Do you know what I mean? He has that temperament where he can kind of get angry, he can switch a game just like that. But he's just not doing the goods at the minute. And at the end of the day, if you're not doing the goods, you're being paid to play. And if you're not playing, well, then you're dropped. And it's up to him now. Especially if he's looking forward to the Euros in the summer, so it's up to him.
Yeah, for definite. And I know the performances out there again. We've been saying that for so long, but I think in order for the form to come back, he does need to get a bit more time in the team. But there's just so many options in there now, especially in that midfield. As again we were mentioning before the stream, he's so far down in that pecking order. He does need the game time to kind of refine that form and maybe find his place in the team. But it's not going to be possible with the hectic calendar that we have, and we're at a stage now where every game seems to matter because things are going to be so tight, and the season already has been so crazy. Every game matters, and unfortunately, we don't have the luxury of bringing a player in just for him to find his form. And Charlie, Ali at his best at Spurs played in a number 10 role behind the striker, the 2016-17 season. He picked up 18 goals in the Premier League alone, playing as that. I suppose it was a mixture between a false 10 or number 10 and a false 9 in point Harry Kane. But there just is no place for a false 10 in our or a number 10 in our squad now, because we're playing at that 4-3-3. Do you think there's any place in the system for him and his style of play?
Well, I mean, if we're honest, at the moment, you have to say no. Because if you look at the system Mourinho is trying to implement, it suits the way he wants to play. And of course, that formation is mostly going to be 4-3-3. And it's just no place for Ali, because if you put Ali in a 4-3-3, he's going to be deeper. And he's not going to work hard enough. And in Mourinho, that's why Mourinho, I know Lo Celso, he's been in and out of the team at the moment because of fitness, but you've seen why he started to really like Lo Celso in the second half of last season, because of his bite and the fact that he works hard. Højbjerg is another example of that. Højbjerg is a player that's always going to work hard, and he's been our workhorse sort of. So at the moment with Ali, yes, you said his best position is playing as sort of just behind the number 9 and stuff. But at the moment, I'll be honest, you have to say there isn't a place for him in the team, and it's just what the truth is at the moment, to be honest.
Just on that point, sorry. Like at the end of the day, it's Ali's football career. He has to learn to adapt into this different systems and different styles of play. I was listening to Jamie Carragher interviewing Ryan Giggs last night, and Ryan Giggs even had to do it. Do you know what I mean? Even some of the best players had to do it. So it's up to this guy to put his head down and do it.
Yeah.
I
was just going to say too that. Oops, sorry. I was just going to say, going to what David was saying earlier, I think that, Dele came in here under Poch. And Poch was like a dad that just loves his kids, kind of lets him do whatever he wants. And like, as long as you perform, he's not really going to get on you about it. And I think that now you've got Jose coming in, and he's just got a hard nose. Like, if you don't show up, you're gone.
Yeah.
You're
just been brought back down to earth, basically, with how football is
exactly.
A lot of the time.
Right. And so that kind of mentality, like, he's got to get the desire in his chest. Like, it's got to come from him. And Jose has said multiple times, like, I don't coach players to be the player. Like, I'm coaching the whole team. And I think what you're saying, David, is so true. It's like he's got to figure this out for himself, fight for the shirt, like you said, Matt. And hopefully he'll do it. Hopefully he'll like step into that before January, because I could see him leaving.
And like he's not the only player who was in that position, because Danny Rose, of course, was someone who kind of clashed with Mourinho very early on, even Tongi and Dembele. But it does purely come down to the mentality. And perhaps Dele Alli is just missing that tough skin, because, as you say, Anthony, Poch was such a father figure, and when something went wrong, Poch was there, he was defending him. He was the one helping him through it, where Jose Mourinho was kind of saying, I mean, it's your career.
You hung out to dry. Good luck.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can criticize Mourinho for that, because like at the end of the day, he has an outstanding squad of footballers there, and I don't think Dele Alli is too important for that anymore. And Anthony, as you say, there is the potential there for Dele Alli to move on in January. I think there were a lot of fans who were surprised that he's still at the club now. Do you think a loan move abroad could be good for him, or is a permanent deal probably on the cards?
Well, okay, so I would say that generally I would say yes. If this was under Pochettino, yes. But Jose Mourinho is Jose. Like, you have to find another manager that's just like Jose, that's not going to take crap just like Jose. Otherwise, he's going to have fun and come back, and it's still going to be a struggle to get that mentality with this manager. Like, if you can't figure out this relationship and how to be just as a player, apart from managers, apart from the team, apart from the squad, like, I think he's lost. So I don't think going on loan will be helpful in the long term at Spurs. It might help him, kind of get his mojo back, but then I don't think he'll find his place in the team in the same way.
But look as well, guys, this isn't a kid we're talking about anymore.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
No,
like, this
24.
isn't the guy that came in and was not making some of our best players in training for the crack of it. This is not a kid anymore. And at the end of the day, all he has to do is look at Jack Wilshere, and it's the way he's going to go, unfortunately, unless he bucks up his ideas.
Wheelchair.
Oh man, I sure hope not. But geez, like, it's so true though. I think that's what it is like he came in, and Poch would say this all the time. I want him to be himself, right? Like, he would say that. And it's like, yes, but there's a future you that you have to get better. Like, you have to keep growing. Harry Kane keeps getting better. Like, you need to get into that mindset and not just be like satisfied, I'm good enough. That's just not going to fly.
Exactly. Yeah.
And do you think Pochettino kind of taken away that edge that Dele Alli had? Joe, he was always that aggressive. He had that kind of something in him that just if a switch kind of flicked, he would come out with this very aggressive side. Do you think Pochettino taking that away from him has kind of affected his mentality in some way, that he's kind of not able to deal with the situation?
Yeah, well, I would say, I don't know if Poch took it away from him. I think in some ways he, you know, like he would lash out and whatever, and Poch would defend him. He'd just say like, hey, I want that edge in his game. But I think Poch did a disservice to him by not saying channel that energy, not this other stuff, you know, like focus on that grit and that grind. And I think Jose is just so much more powerful, and he's got the pedigree. Like, what is Dele going to say? He's got nothing to say back. It's not like he's won anything, like you were saying, Charlie, and he can just say like, well, this is my way of doing things. It's like, I think that he needs to find that grit. And my hope is that Jose would light that fire, you know, like get him going, make him, you know, take that edge and put it on the field and not just put it against the manager.
Yeah,
definitely. David, what's the difference between the situation with Dele Alli and what's going on with Harry Winks right now?
Look, the situation with Dele Alli and Harry Winks is purely simple, that Dele Alli has natural ability, Winks doesn't. Look, for me, I look at Winks, he slows our play down big time. He does all these little 5-yard passes to keep his stats up. But at the end of the day, it's what you see with the own human eye is what counts. And this guy just doesn't do enough. Anytime this guy plays, like if you think back to the season where we had Moussa Dembele and then we sold him in January, right? From that January onwards, we had Winks in the team. And look, we struggled back end of that season. And ever since we come into the team, we've struggled. When we had Moussa Dembele there, we were walking over teams. We had so much possession. It was great to watch. And ever since that guy's gone, Winks has come in. And he just, look, this guy's had 2 years to stake a claim in the team. And he still hasn't done it. He's not aggressive enough. He doesn't have guile. Look, I get he's one of our own. He plays for the badge. But that'll only get you so far. Do you know, he just reminds me of Tom Carroll, to be honest. A hell of a lot of potential, but just lacks the aggression and the mindset just to be a first 11 player and a winner, to be honest. And everything about Winks just sums up the mentality we had as a team under Pochettino, in my eyes.
Sorry, I just want to add to what David said there regarding mentality. I was actually saying on my stream that the way we're trying to go under Mourinho, my feeling is that a lot of the players have actually bought into it, but then you get these few individuals, mainly the likes of Winks and stuff, that just don't have that strength in their mentality to follow. And it's just starting, you have to ask questions of these guys that when they play, they're not stepping up and they're not showing the mentality that maybe other players have developed that may not have had it before. It's just something I want to add. Yeah.
The easiest player I compare Winks to would be the likes of a Jack Grealish, right? Now that guy came back to the Premier League. He added something to his game. He added that, like he just has that bit extra. He just has that mentality that he wants to win. He's able to dominate a game, influence a game, and we never come off saying that about Winks ever.
Yeah. And look, Charlie, Winks has had some fantastic performances in a Tottenham jersey. I don't think there's any getting away from that. You know, we have the home and away fixtures against Real Madrid in the Champions League a few years ago. Even as recently as the victory against Man City earlier this year in the Premier League, he was a very influential player in those games. And I think he does have the ability, he does have the knowledge, but there's just something there that he doesn't seem to be able to provide it on a consistent basis. And even when he does, it's very seldom that he actually is playing at the top of his game. A similar question, I suppose. Do you think he has a future at Spurs?
Look, to that point there, I want to say something as well. If you compare the strengths and stuff, you look at Ollie Skip on loan at Norwich. You saw the other week that horror tackle that he was on the end of. He just brushed it off straight away and got up. You could tell that guy is made of steel. The problem is with Winks is that it just feels to me that he tends to be living off these performances. That one time when he spun Messi against Barcelona, it just feels like he's sort of living off these sort of things. And it just seems like to me he's, for a few years now, particularly on the Poch, he was sort of getting away with it. Just like you said about Dele Alli, that he kept players like Ali and Ericsson on the Poch, at the back end of the Poch, they kept getting selected. And it just seems like a similar situation to that. Look, with Winks, I know he came through our youth system and stuff. He plays for the shirt, but at the end of the day, as David said, that can only get you so far. And if you want to win in football, you need quality and mental steel. And I just feel like he lacks a lot of steel in him at all, really, Winks, to be honest. So in terms of what you said, does he have a future at the club? I think it's quite uncertain at the moment, to be honest. If you ask me.
And Anthony, I've seen a lot of people say in the last 12 or so hours since this defeat to Royal Antwerp that we need to get rid of these, they're called Pochettino players. And I think Alli and Winks definitely do fall into those brackets. And obviously, of course, it's very bad. These are players that were starters in our team for so long, are now looking to probably be moving on in the near future. But is this kind of the benefit that we get from a manager like Jose Mourinho coming in, and he's made the signings, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg being a really crucial one, but he's gotten the best out of players like Ndombele and Celso, and people are, when he first came in, kind of saying these players moving on is exactly why we don't want Mourinho, because they're the heart and soul of our team and we need to keep them. But could we perhaps look at this as a good thing in that he's weeding out these players that probably have been holding us back in the last couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, so when it comes to Winks, one of the things that I think about him is that because he grew up, like Spurs through and through, that it's like it gets in his head or something, his emotions. He wants to do more than he should. If he would just kind of stay in his lane, do his job, he'd be fine. But then he's going in, like last night, he took a shot that I was just like, what are you doing?
Whenever he shoots, it's just, I don't expect anything. Like, no goal in a year and 9 months. Like,
he's no end product. It's as simple as that. Like, he's no end product.
Yeah. But I think that, I mean, so what you're saying about like these kind of Jose players, it's so clear, the mentality, like that's the player he brings. Like when you bring in a Højbjerg, when you bring in Doherty, when you bring in Bale, like these are guys, even Reguilon, right? Like Reguilon's playful, like in the same way that I remember Dele being like in the beginning. But Reguilon seems like he also will like do everything he can. And so I think that mentality that Jose is bringing in, I think that's important. Of course, we love the players that love the shirt. We want that. But I think in terms of taking us to that level of silverware consistently, I mean, we're not even doing it, but just the idea of like getting there and staying there, there has to be a loyalty to winning that you see in those players. And right now, I think there are some, kind of that Pochettino players. And you remember Poch would say things like, some of these cups would just like not matter to him,
That's one thing that he got me with. Look, I love the guy like all of us did, but that's the one thing that got me, like playing Michel Vorm in an FA Cup semi-final and stuff. Like that stuff, like that's what got me sometimes with him.
Yeah. And he was so loyal. I just
want to add one thing to that.
Yeah.
Look, under Pochettino and some of these players, right? Look, for me, it's a sentimental thing. Like they allowed me to be able to watch a Champions League final with my father. Something I'll always remember. Right. Do you know what I mean? And I can only thank them for that. But at the end of the day, I think it was more always hope under Pochettino. Whereas now we have Mourinho and in some of the players he's brought in, it's belief.
Yeah,
it's different.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's so true. That's a great point. And something I've spoken a lot in the channel, I've spoken to you, Dave, and Charlie about it as well, is that sort of winning mentality that a manager like Mourinho brings in. And we saw a bit of that creeping in against Burnley on Monday. Of course, grinding out that 1-0 victory there with Son getting the goal. Another goal linking up with Harry Kane. David, have you any complaints from that performance on Monday?
Against Burnley? To be honest with you, Matt, like we haven't won there in the last 2 games. We went to Turf Moor. So, like, at the end of the day, it's job done as far as I'm concerned. There's 3 points in the bag. I don't care how we win, as long as we win. It really, performances, whether we win 5-2 or win every game 1-0, it really doesn't bother me. As long as we get over the line. Like, Burnley is a tough place to go. They just kick lumps out of you. Do you know what I mean? They're battlers. They're aggressive. And for me, like I said, it really doesn't matter how we win, as long as we win. And performance-wise, I could get the drop. Like, we didn't go gung-ho. We didn't put 3-4 by these boys. But at the end of the day, we were looking at Burnley, Brighton, and West Brom and Hove to take 9 points and really put us in a strong position going into December. And look, it's job done. No matter any complaints about it, if that was City or United or Liverpool or Arsenal or Chelsea, because of some of their managers and just the bias in the media towards them, they'd be laudable. These are the games. These are the games that win the titles. These are the games that you need to grind out and win 1-0. Do you know what I mean? But because of Spurs, it's just they're losing they're losing the plot again. We'll talk about them being title challengers, not title challengers. Look, I don't buy into any of that. 3 points is what matters to me, mate.
Yeah, 100%.
I said it on my watch along on Monday nights. You don't go to Burnley to win pretty. You go there to grind out and try and walk away from there with all your players intact and 3 points. And we did manage to do that. And one player who really impressed on Monday night, Charlie, was Tanguy Ndombele. And Mourinho was even speaking about him after last night. He said he's training normal and is ready to play on Sunday. And to be honest, we missed him because he gives speed to the team, thinking quick, thinking fast, moving the ball. We missed him. And I think he was one player who, rather surprisingly to me, looked like he was going to create something on Monday night. He was picking up some really good spaces in between the lines, and he played a few good balls in the 10-15 minutes leading up to the goal that we actually scored. And it's so weird to see him playing in a more advanced role than what he was kind of brought in to do. But he really seems to be thriving in that position. How important do you think Ndombele is to us at the moment?
Oh, I think he's really important at the moment. You could see on yesterday, Mourinho even said it, we missed him. And I think on the game against Burnley, it was really good to see that in that fixture last year, we all know what happened. Hauled off at half-time, Mourinho speaking publicly. Just for him to do a sort of full U-turn and put in the performance he did against Burnley. Like, there were times where he had about 3 players around him. And he managed to get out of that tight space, and it was just phenomenal to see. And look, I said it when we signed him. He's a phenomenal talent. He's like for me, he looks a really unique player. He's a type of player I've never actually seen before. And for me, he's like a one-in-a-generation talent. And it's just the fact that he's coming good is just really, really good to see. And as you said, he is really important to our team. He has the ability to open up teams on his own with just one pass that will break the lines. And to get out of the tight space that he does, he's just a really, really exciting player to watch. And as you said, he is really important to our team. And I think he's going to play a key role on Sunday. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And Anthony, as we were touching on there, it's an impressive feat to go away to Burnley and I suppose come away with 3 points. But is it as impressive as people are saying? Because looking at Burnley's record against the top 6 at home in the last couple of years, they won, I think, just 3 of the last 23 home games against the big sides in England. And look, it's a tough place to go. But is it as impressive as people are saying?
I mean, I think it is for us. Just the reality is like sometimes the mentality going into a place like that is like just slogging it out and hopefully we get a draw even. And I think what you were saying earlier, David, about us going there before, it's like for us, we just need to win. That's period. And I actually appreciate what Jose's been saying about like just go into this game and we win. Like forget the big picture, just one day, one game at a time. And so I think it was big to get that goal and to win in that way. And you could see it on Sonny's face and Kane, like their chemistry is outstanding. And to just keep that pushing forward is only good for the club.
Yeah.
And
as well after that Burnley game, sorry, Matt, we also learned, like against West Ham, we were 3-0 up. We ended up drawing 3-3. Look, it hurt every Spurs fan, do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But then the Burnley game, we grounded out. We already showed that we learned lessons from the West Ham game. That's another positive we can take from that. It just shows that we're learning lessons and that Mourinho obviously would have made them. They would have been hurting. They would have been dying for that Burnley game. And they know just go out there, be aggressive. And like I said to many Spurs fans, with Burnley, once you match their aggression and you're willing to outrun them, you'll always get a chance to beat them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Going on with that point, David, we needed the aggression. We needed to match Burnley. Were you surprised that Eric Lamela wasn't in that starting 11? Because he did, in a way, change the game when he came on.
I was very surprised. I actually called for him to start. I was hoping he'd start just because, look, as much as the guy overruns the ball and he doesn't like passing the ball, it's something with these Argentinian guys that we have in our team. They just bring that aggression and they just bring that work rate and the work ethic. And when you're going up against teams like Burnley, who are just going to sit men behind the ball, and you need players like that in your team. Like I know we had Gareth Bale and stuff like that, but sometimes you just need these guys. And to me, Mourinho, maybe Mourinho had a game plan. He just he thought maybe what he had going out was good enough. It didn't work, and then he just had an ace on his bench there, and that was Lamela, and he brought him on. And like that guy is useful as a substitution as well, because he can just come on and make that tackle or make that like track back on a run, and he can just free up everybody. You need players like that in your team.
Yeah, he also gets he just is in everyone's mind. I feel like he's consistently, getting these like small fouls and stuff like that. And it's just like those kinds of things frustrate a team, especially a team like Burnley, where they're so physical. Like I would have loved to see Lamela start as well.
Yeah. And look, a lot of people have mentioned in the last, since the game on Monday as well, and Charlie, I'm going to ask you about it. If we hadn't got that bad VAR decision against Newcastle, or if we'd managed to hold on to that lead against West Ham, we would currently be sitting on top of the Premier League ahead of Liverpool and Everton on goal difference. It's a very Tottenham sort of thing to be sitting here and saying, oh, what if? Because there have been so many stages in the past where we've gotten to that stage where we could make that step. It's been into the top four. I know there's been a few times it's been to jump on top of the Premier League table, and we always seem to slip up at the moment that matters. How do you think it would be affecting the team's mentality right now? That they know one result that we probably should have, or that we definitely should have come away with 3 points, is what's costing us a place on top of the league right now?
Well, you'd hope they're not dwelling on it, and as you said, the Burnley game, that sort of shows, as David said, maybe they are learning lessons, and they've put the West Ham game behind them because of the way we dug in at Turf Moor. Look, Turf Moor, it's never easy to go there. You saw Man City when they got 100 points. I think they won 1-0 there as well, with a late goal. So it's never easy for any team, and I think from what we saw against Burnley, it suggests to me that they're not dwelling on those results, because if they were to dwell on those results, it would really be a worry, because just like let's hope that they don't dwell on the result yesterday, because as in football, you need to take each game. Once you finish a game, no matter what the result is, you have to look to the next game and start preparing properly and just put everything behind you. So yeah, look, as I said, as I saw in the Burnley game, it suggests that they're not dwelling on those results and they're thinking we really can push on this season. And you were saying, Matt, about the what ifs and stuff. We've seen it so many times. Like you look at, I think it was a couple of years ago when we were on a really long winning streak and we were being tipped for like the title and stuff, and then we go and lose 3-1 to Wolves. Like it's stuff like that happens quite often with Tottenham, and I'm just hoping that now, after what happened in the West Ham game, particularly, and the Newcastle one as well, that's sort of a lesson, even yesterday, that just do not take any opposition lightly and just stick to your game plan and grind out the results like we did against Burnley. And like as David said, as long as you win in football, at the end of the day, what else matters? It's all about getting over the line. And that's what title winning sides do. You look at Liverpool last year. Yes, they outplayed a lot of teams, but there was a lot of games in there where they managed to just scrape over the line. And probably one of them was probably against Burnley, to be honest. Title-winning teams grind out these results, and you just need sometimes just a bit of grit and determination. And that's exactly what we did at Burnley on Monday.
Mm-hmm. No, Anthony, I need to ask you this question because I asked the question to everyone who does come on the channel. Tottenham, in my lifetime anyway, have been on top of the table for a combined total of 13 minutes. Which is a crazy thing to think of. It was when we were,
how did you work that one out?
it was when we were leading against Arsenal that year. Leicester won the league. We were 2-1 up against Arsenal at White Hart Lane for 13 minutes. And that was the only time in my lifetime that we had been top.
I was at that game as well.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Anthony, do you think it's going to stay that way, or can Tottenham win the league this season?
I hope they can win the league this season. I mean, I think they have. I mean, this season is so weird, right? No fans. No, I mean, Van Dijk is injured for the rest of the season. There's so much weirdness.
VAR.
Like, yeah, VAR, United's at the bottom of the table, City's like looking. I just feel like this is an opportunity. My hope is that Jose can say to this team, like, hey, look, you didn't get it over the line with Leicester. We're going to get it over the line. Right? Like he's going to push them to make sure they grind out the games against Burnley. They don't lose their mentality. And yeah, just keep moving forward. I think it's possible, certainly, but it's so hard to hope, you know,
it does
every time. And so I think, yes, it's possible. I think it's too soon to say, but I certainly think this is an opportunity for sure.
Definitely. It's wide open.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's such a crazy season, and something I've been very vocal about. I do think Tottenham can win the league this season, but in the same way, I think City can win it. I think Liverpool, United, Chelsea, even Everton are in the mix. It's not a case of me looking at it and saying, "Oh, Tottenham are the best team in the league." It's because everything is just so crazy.
It's really uncertain. Yeah.
Yeah. We do have a really good squad, but I think there's so many teams who can win the league this season.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the way I'm looking at it, lads. Right, all the years growing up, I was surrounded by Arsenal, Liverpool, United, Chelsea fans, and I always sat there grinding my teeth. I had to take it because I was outnumbered, and I always just said to myself, it's not going to last forever. There comes a point where the old top four will be turned on its head, and this is the season. It could happen, you know, lads. Do you know what I mean? Like a lot, like the likes of Everton, like they could well challenge this year, and there's no reason why we can't be leaders of the pack this year. United, I think, are going to have major problems further down. Personally, it's going to come to a point where they're going to end up sacking Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. The guy just can't put it in the Premier League. He's good. He's good. Give him his credit. He gets it right in European games. Come the league, it's just not there. I look at Chelsea. I don't think Frank Lampard will see the end of the season. Look at the money they've spent and the performance they're putting in. Abramovich is not going to sit there and want to watch that every week. You look at Arsenal, all the praise they get for Arteta, right? They were sitting there last night praising the 70 million they spent on Pep and his goal last night. That 70 million will pay the League of Ireland wages for the next 10 years. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't be mad at that. And Arteta has major problems coming down the line as well because, again, it's an attitude problem at Arsenal. So there's no reason why we can't really get ahead of the bunch this year and take it home.
Yeah,
definitely.
But if we do want to be in that title race, if we do want to compete, the next step we have to take is getting 3 points against Brighton, who we welcome to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Sunday. David, for you, who needs to be the first name on the team sheet?
For me, Højbjerg needs to be the first name on the team sheet. I'd love to see Ndombele and Lo Celso in this game. I think Harry Kane obviously up front, Son out wide, out on the left. I'd love to see him give Bale the chance, to be honest, on the right-hand side. Centre-back, I go Toby and Dyer again. Reguilon at left-back. And just because he's Irish, I'm going to go with Doherty at right-back. And obviously, Reece and goals. Look, I hope they remember what happened the last couple of times we played Burnley when Conley scored 2. He ripped Alderweireld new one, let's be fair. Lloris's injury that time, he was out for a long time after he lost days of that. Do you know what I mean? So, look, I hope these guys remember some of these, and I hope Mourinho points it out because, to be honest, I think Mourinho does because it's in his sort of mentality. He'll show these guys these results and how much it hurts, and hopefully that they'll go out there raring to go. It's not going to be easy. I think Graham Potter has them. He's transformed them really, hasn't he, playing football. Like I said, Conley's always a threat. Mope is a threat for them as well. But look, if we're going for the title, these are games we have to win. We have more than enough quality in the team. And look, it would be interesting to see what happens Sunday, especially after last night.
I think you make a good point. Bale could be a very important player for us on Sunday because Brighton's left back or left wing back Dan Burn is 6'7", and I think once Bale gets the ball on the ground against him, there's only one winner in that showdown. Charlie, I think we can kind of predict where this is going to go. But what players do you think shouldn't even make the bench on Sunday?
Shouldn't make the bench. I think, look, we saw against Burnley, you had the lots of Winks, Sanchez all left out. I think it's the same story, to be honest. Like, if you saw what Foyth did at Norwich last season and he got frozen out completely, it should be the same for anyone else that makes mistakes like that. And I think leaving out players, I think the likes of Winks should be left out. I don't think he deserves to play. I think Ali, will be left out. I don't think, again, another player that doesn't deserve to play. And I think, look, Brighton, as David said, I'll talk a bit about them, got some decent players in there. A few, you got, like, as you said, Mope, Trossard's another one, Bissouma in midfield. So they got some good players there. But as you said, if we're going to be in a title race, these are the type of games we simply have to be picking up 3 points in. Because if you remember, I think it was 17-18 season, the year at Wembley, we finished third that year, a very respectable third, don't get me wrong. But the reason we weren't in the title challenge that season is because we dropped so many silly points. You look at games, I think you had Watford away, Southampton away, Brighton away even. I think Burnley maybe as well at home. And just these silly points, West Brom, as we all know, have been a bogey team for us before. So that's what undid us, I thought, that season. So if you're going to be in a title race, you have to pick up 3 points in games like this. And I think, look, if we're on it, if we're scoring goals like we were before, if we keep that momentum going, and I think if we keep them out of the other end, then I think we should hopefully come away with 3 points in this game. But as I said, won't be easy. Brighton will probably be up for it. They're a decent side. But yeah, I do fully expect us to come away with 3 points in this game. Yeah.
Anthony, are you expecting a response from the players?
I think so. I think it's I mean, because of Jose's criticism after this game, I think in some ways it puts a confidence in the ones he's going to select on Sunday. Generally, it's like these are the guys he trusts. These are the ones he knows will get it over the line. And so I think there will be a response. But like the guys are saying, it's not going to be like a walk in the park. They're going to have to actually play. They're going to have to show us the quality. I think, Dembele to me is just, the N is for new. He's a new Moussa Dembele, right? Like he is literally.
He is quality. Yeah,
we need that moose in the midfield. Like we need something moving, and it was so evident on in the game last night. And I think just settle that in. I like Bale. I'm a little concerned. I feel like he's just been so slow getting out of these gates, and I hope that we can start to see a little more from him. But at the same time, I think more game time will help as well. So I liked your team, David.
Just on the Bale thing there, Anthony. I was just thinking there, do you think maybe Mourinho could be playing some of his mind games here, maybe holding him back, unleashing him for when we start playing the top six and just...
You mean like dude, okay, so Jose is...
You never know.
I would never put it past him. I would never put it past him.
Yeah.
This guy does a madness. You know what I mean? Like, you can't put it past him.
It's to your point about that. One thing I've noticed about Ndombele is I think he intentionally tries to look lazy. Like there are times when he will slowly jog towards a ball and then he'll get on the ball and just explode. And I think that's on purpose. I think it throws the defenders off. I think it makes people think, he's not going in on this really hard, and then he gets in. And so that could definitely be going on where you've got Bale just kind of dogging it back and not really going into things. And then all of a sudden he's just going to turn it on. And I would love to see that. I hope that's the case because
I tell you what actually made me think that, right? Last night he got the ball there, and just seeing him at Madrid and at Spurs, there was one stage there he was in a position he would have got that ball, he would have ran at them, he would have flew through them and got shot, and he just kind of took the easy pass back. And I'm just wondering, as a little play with Mourinho, you never know. As well, actually, on Ndombele as well, like my old lad, he hates this guy, and I just don't get it. Like I love him. I think this guy's quality. Do you know what I mean? And I think you're right. I think you're right about just intentionally with his lazy style of play, because it does put a lot of players off. I suppose you think this guy's lazy, you're kind of slacking off, you don't sprint as much. Next thing you know, this guy is there, and you're like, how did he do that?
And the look on his face, he always looks like this is no big deal, and then he shoulders someone to the ground. It's like I just love that about him. He's so fun to watch, and I really hope he continues to eat it up. It's going to be great.
Generational talent.
Yep,
literally,
totally.
Before we signed him, I'd never seen anything like him. Honestly, he's really becoming that good this year, and it's something to really get excited about. I think.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like this guy, he can pass a ball, right? We can see he can shoot the ball. His debut, he scored for us. He gets stuck in there against West Ham and Burnley. He put himself about the pitch with a few slide tackles. He's well able to read the play as well. It's just about keeping this guy's mindset and focus right. And we've got a top quality player here. What do you think, Matt?
Agreed.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a lot of potential there, and it's we're starting to see a bit more of it coming out now under Mourinho. He's, as I said, picking up kind of different positions and stuff, and you just kind of wonder with it makes some sense, I suppose, with the players that have been at the club for quite a while. Why things started to go a bit stale under Pochettino, because they had the same sort of message pumped into them all the time. And I think that Champions League final was a turning point in that, Pochettino saying it's a project, we'll get there eventually, and then we got there and we didn't make it. So I can understand to some extent why those kind of older players did kind of regress a bit going into that new season. But it's when you have those new players coming in like Ndombele and Celso, they were the exact same. And I know, fair enough, it's going to be difficult coming into an environment where the majority of the players are like that, but barring Ndombele's debut, I suppose they started really slowly, and that I think where is really confusing for me. Like, why did that happen? But at least we're starting to see the improvement now, and hopefully, along with the other 10 players out in that starting 11, hopefully they can continue to improve, and hopefully this is the year where we can reach that pinnacle. And just before I let you go, I want to get a score prediction for the game against Brighton on Sunday, starting with you, David.
I'm going to go 3-1. 3-1 Spurs, obviously. I think Harry Kane likes scored against Brighton. And I think Son will get 2, I think.
Charlie?
Yeah, I'm gonna go 3-1. I think, look, it's a game where, as I said, we should be picking up 3 points in these games, and I think, I do. If the attacking players get going how they've done the last few weeks, I think we can definitely win this game. That's for sure. So I'm gonna go 3-1. I think goal scorers. I think I'll go Kane to get 1 and Son 2. So same as David. And I think for Brighton, I think Mopé will get theirs. So I think 3-1. I'm gonna go that.
And Anthony?
Yeah, I'm gonna go 2-1. Also, goals either coming from Son or Kane. I mean, the guys are just on fire, and they're setting each other up beautifully. I think the sad thing, as I'm hearing everybody's scoreline predictions, is that 1. It's just like I'd love to get that down to 0, but I don't think that happens, unfortunately, this weekend.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. I'm going to go for. I'm kind of torn between a 2 or 3-1 victory. So we'll just let it linger in the middle there. I think it is, of course, going to be Kane and Son getting the goals in again, and it's amazing to mention that if Harry Kane and Son link up for a goal on Sunday, they become the most prolific strike partnership in a single Premier League season ever, and we're only 7 games in. You know, we're 6, and they've matched the total of 7. It's absolutely scandalous, and they're only 7 behind Drogba and Lampard in becoming the most prolific pair in Premier League history. So it's a really interesting one to look out for, I suppose, on Sunday to see if they can link up for another goal. And before we go, I just want to remind all the viewers that channel memberships have become active on my channel today. They're starting at just £1.99 per month. So if you do want to check those out, click the join button below the video, and you can find out a bit more about that there. There'll also be a link in the description. I want to thank Charlie, Anthony, and David for joining me today. Links for Charlie and Anthony's YouTube channels will be down in the description below if you want to go check them out. I highly advise that you do. To the 3 of you, thank you very much for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for letting me on. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.